What do you do when the people who are supposed to love you the most are also the ones who end up hurting you the most? What do you do when their words cut deep and their actions leave scars? And you know that no matter what, you can't make it stop. Well, one thing I know for sure is you can't control them. But I also know that you can protect yourself and you can protect your peace. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. Before we dive in, I have something for you today, especially if you're struggling in an estrangement type situation. I've got a free guide called 10 Steps to Healing After Estrangement that will walk you through the first crucial steps of kind of getting your feet back underneath you and building back your peace regardless of where the relationship is at. You can find that linked below down in the description. The truth is, relationships can be messy. Families can be messy. And the people who are closest to us and who we believe are supposed to be the ones who will love us and cherish us and protect us forever are often the ones who hurt us the most. If you've been in a significant relationship that has gone south, you might be wondering, how did we get here? The truth is, most of the time, whatever got us here didn't happen overnight. It likely started with a whole bunch of small moments, dismissed feelings, crossed boundaries, lack of trust. Over time, those things slowly become the default pattern of the relationship that replaces the good stuff. You might now be in a point where you think, gosh, if I just love him enough, if I stay patient enough, if I explain myself well enough, we'll get back to where we were. Things will change and it'll all be good again. But that's not how it works. A lot of times, and maybe most of the time, the person who's actually doing the hurting is operating from a place of their own pain. It's their own wounded ego. It's their own beliefs about what should or shouldn't have been. Doesn't excuse their behavior, doesn't give them justification to do what they're doing, but it can help you understand where it's coming from. It could be that they're punishing you because of their pain. It can also be about shifting dynamics. Maybe you're the one who's changing. You're the one who's setting boundaries and healing and refusing to play the same old roles that you've always done. Instead of adjusting and accepting their part of things, that person is now resisting, ramping up control games, ramping up anger and bitterness and bad behavior and trying to suck you back in. Or maybe they're simply discarding you because they have no further use for you and it's easier for them that way. Whatever led you here today, I want you to know you're not crazy for feeling hurt. That pain is real. Every situation is different. There is no one size fits all when things go wrong. But there is one thing for sure, that all relationships, family relationships, friendships, work relationships, it doesn't matter. All relationships contain two very imperfect people who make mistakes. But the real question is, how do you stop letting that other person's actions, behavior, words, how do you stop it from controlling you and taking away your peace? It's really easy to get stuck in all kinds of mind loops when things go wrong. Why can't I just let this go? Why can't they? What did I do? How can I fix this? Where do we go from here? Some of those questions may or may not have answers. And if they do, one or both of you might not be quite ready to tackle them yet. So it's time to shift from a place of reaction to a place of observation. Instead of instantly jumping in and getting all bent out of shape emotionally, it's time to take a step back and ask, hey, is this thing about me or is it about them? If they're always criticizing, blaming, manipulating, using other kinds of bad behavior, please understand that that has now become their default behavior pattern. It's their chosen behavior. That's a them thing, not a you thing. And it's not a reflection of you or your worth. But you do need to decide where your energy is going to go. Probably none of us would let somebody come into our house and start rearranging our furniture. But yet, we're more than happy to let them mess with our emotions and our mental health and our well-being. Why are we doing that? Regardless of what got us into the situation or where things are right now, And even regardless of who is right and who is wrong, it's absolutely critical that you take steps to protect your own mental health, your own well-being, and your own personal and emotional peace. Because there will be no solutions in chaos. There may never be any solutions anyway, but there for sure will not be solutions to these problems when there's chaos. And if anything ever has any hope of changing, someone has to step back, break that cycle, and do something different. And that person might as well be you. One of the best reasons for that is that the more that you stop reacting and the more that you stop getting hooked into these kind of situations, the more power you will be able to take back for yourself. And if they're choosing verbal and emotional abuse as a punishment or a reaction to something they believe that you did or that something else did or that did or didn't happen, especially when those things happened earlier in their life, they're wrong and that's on them. Even if they're right and you did have something to do with it, it is still not okay to use abuse as a punishment, because abuse of any kind is never, ever okay, and it's not the answer. But if you're used to people pleasing or fixing or over explaining yourself or not being able to take up very much space in the universe, these can be tough habits to break. If you grew up in an environment where keeping the peace meant keeping other people happy and forgetting about whatever you needed and doing whatever they said, it makes sense that you would feel responsible. But just because you learned it a certain way doesn't mean you have to keep doing it that way, doesn't mean you have to keep living it, and doesn't mean you have to keep passing it on. Remember, adults are responsible for their own emotions. If they lash out, blame you, or guilt trip you, that's their issue. You don't have to absorb it. You also don't owe endless explanations to someone who's committed to misunderstanding you or to not listening to you. Because the truth is, if they want to listen, they're going to. If they don't, they won't. And there is nothing you can do about that. Because again, healing doesn't come in chaos and solutions don't come in chaos. And we have to break those cycles of dysfunction and control and going at each other. And we have to break that on both sides before we can get to solutions. Until that happens, it is perfectly okay to love someone and refuse to tolerate their bad behavior. When someone you love keeps hurting you, our instinct really is often to fix, to explain, or sometimes to ignore it, hoping that it'll just go away, or that they'll change, or that they'll somehow become the people that we know that they can be. But if you're listening to this video, chances are great you've probably already tried that and already know that it doesn't work. Real change and real peace actually starts with limiting your access to the things that they keep using against you. Your time, your emotions, and your resources in particular. So how do we really start to take back our peace? Well, it starts with limiting access to your time. Stop dropping everything the moment they text or call. You don't always have to be instantly available, and you don't have to be at their beck and call if they're not willing to participate in a healthy relationship. If every conversation turns into an argument or manipulation or demands, keep it short. I've only got a few minutes to chat, and then stick to it. If they demand time that you don't want to give, let them know that doesn't work for me. And no explanation is required, because no really does get to be a complete sentence. You also need to limit access to your emotions. Boy, when someone figures out they can get under your skin, they will do it, and they will dig, and they will dig, and they will dig, often just to see you light up and to see you react. So stop engaging in arguments that are designed to pull you in. If they try to push your buttons, it's time to detach. You really do not have to participate in every argument that you're invited to attend. Simply responding with neutral statements like, I hear you, that's your opinion, or I'm not discussing this, are great options. Maybe most importantly, and let this one sink in for a minute, is stop trying to seek their validation and understanding, because you're not going to get it. And what you say can and probably will be used against you, and that's on them. That's not about you. If they refuse to see your worth, if they refuse to value you as a human, that is their problem. And it's not one that you have to fix. The last thing that you want to limit access to is money and resources. This one is huge. Oh my goodness. If this is one thing I could drill into people is please don't keep financially supporting someone who takes and takes and takes but never appreciates. If they're always in crisis or they always need something or they're all coming up short, it's time to ask yourself, is this truly my responsibility to fix? And what do they need to be doing about it? I'm going to give you a little hint here. If that person is over the age of 18, especially if they're your child, it's not your responsibility to help them anymore. Anything you do for them after that magical day when they turn 18 is purely out of the goodness of your heart. It's not an expectation. It's not an obligation. And if they can't figure out how to make it work on their own, that's on them. If they guilt trip you into trying to give them, or they put on some kind of a sob story, that's manipulation, my friend. And please remind yourself that rescuing them will not help anything. It will not improve your relationship. It will not make things better, but it probably will make things worse. So remind yourself that helping is a choice. It is not an obligation. And saying no does not make you selfish. In fact, in many cases, it makes you wise. Please remember that love doesn't come with a price tag. So if someone is trying to use money or gifts as a way to control you, it's okay to say no, because it's not for sale and neither are you. You deserve peace, and you can have it, even if they never change, even if the relationships never change, because it's not dependent on them. That is all about you. If you need more guidance on moving forward, be sure to grab that guide down there in my description. And let me know in the comments, what is the hardest part for you about protecting your peace right now? I would love to hear from you. If this video helped, be sure you like and subscribe to my channel and come back for more content on healing and building healthier relationships and reclaiming your life. There's more good stuff to come, but that's all I've got for now. I'll see you next time. Bye!